Are you in need of a want? Welcome to Money on the Vine. My name is Ross. Today I'm going to be talking about needs and wants and trying to define the two and give you a clear idea of what a need is and what a want is. Especially if you're going through a hard time in your finances, you're going through a season where you're having a real battle with your finances. It's critical that you understand the differences between a need and a want. And I think sometimes wants have crept into our needs, and we're spending money on wants thinking they're our needs, but they're not really a need, and they're a want. So let's get into it and see the definition between the two. A need is something that is critical or required for your survival. So a need is something that is required for your survival. A want is something that is not required for your survival. So it's a desire you might have. Now I also want to say something about a need. A need has an end, but a want only has a beginning, right? I'll get back to that in a second. Now, I want to refer to Matthew chapter 6, verses 31, where Jesus talks about our needs. And he talks about if you're thirsty, or if you want to drink, or clothes, or food. So he refers to three things in that famous verses that lead up to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And so when he's talking about that, I'm going to use those three things to expand more about my comment about needs having an ending, right? So for example, say you are just coming off a 6-month fast, probably dead, but anyway, let's say you're really hungry, right? You haven't eaten for a couple of days, I'm just saying you are on a fast, so let's say you're on a fast. Now you're going to break your fast, so you're going, I'm going to go to a smorgasbord, somewhere where I can have all you can eat and just go ballistic, right? And so you go in and you eat, and you start eating and you stop because you're so full, you can't move, right? And so your need is met. You're no longer hungry. You no longer want to see a restaurant. You no longer want to see food. Same with the drink, right? Say you're thirsty, you're really thirsty, and you want to have a drink. Once you're drunk your water or Gatorade or whatever thing that you drink to quench your thirst, you're done. You're finished. You can't drink anymore. Same with clothes. I mean, if it's winter time and you need to rug yourself up, you put on 25 layers, and then you realize that now I'm getting hot. So your needs end. But wants a bit different. Wants, once you get a taste of something that is a desire or something that is not essential for your survival, you can get a taste for the next thing, the next best thing. And you want the next best thing. Look, with clothing, I would say there are some people who love to be in vogue with the season that you're in, right? You see all these, models wearing the clothing of the time of that particular, season, whether it be winter or autumn or summer, and you want to be in that mode. So you're wearing the bright colors and blah blah blah. Now I'm generally about a season behind. You see, so when I'm wearing ripped jeans, the guys who are in vogue, they're stitching them up. There's no holes anymore. That's the kind of guy I am. Because it's cheaper to buy it when it's out of season, out of fashion, because I don't really care. As long as I look good in something, that's what matters, But sometimes you could be chasing those things, And let's talk about a car, for example, right? Say you've got a budget for a certain vehicle, and you're going, yeah, that's the car I want, but then you buy it, and then a year later, the new model comes out, and you go, oh, I wish I could get that because it's got this in it, It's got an ejector seat, so you can eject the guys that, starts giving you a hard time while you're driving, and so on. No, there's no ejector seat, I'm just joking. But, you just want the next one and the next better car. Or you want to go from, a car with a smaller budget to a European type vehicle or whatever it may be. So, and then you just keep going, isn't it? I mean, it's a house is the same thing. You have a house, and all of a sudden it's like, I need a bigger house or whatever. And so your want just keeps going and going. That's what I mean when I say a want only has a beginning. Now, let me have I'll try to talk about a few areas that wants and needs get mixed up a little, right? And some of the common things that my wife and I, we've got 4 kids, so some of the common things that we find is that sometimes the wants of the kids come back on us, and all of a sudden that want becomes a need to us, So some of the areas that I look at is takeaway food, right? That's one of the areas that I look at, and especially when you're on a tight budget. Like my wife and I were on a tight budget for a while, and $20 a fortnight was our takeout budget, right? We couldn't deviate from that because we didn't have any money, and so every fortnight we'd get fish and chips or McDonald's or Hungry Jack's because the burgers are better, or I don't know, some pizza or something like that, for about $20. And and back then, of course, $20 went a long way because the kids were younger and they didn't eat as much. So, Sarah and I would have a bit and give the rest to the kids. So that was our that was our budget for a takeout. So you got the perfect example is you're driving home after school or something, and you've got groceries at home that you've got to make food for, but then the kids are like, come and get some KFC or whatever. And as parents, you want to give them whatever they want, right? But you know what? I would strongly suggest that you take the kids along with this journey, with the financial journey. It's always good to let them know at a young age. Like when I was growing up, I never knew where the money came from. There was food on the table, I had clothes to wear, and I went to school, came back, and there was no discussion about where it came. My dad was working hard, my mom was working hard, none of that. So my wife and I, we take our kids with the journey. So when times are great, we let them know, that times are good, and our budget can be expanded a little. But when times are tough, we let them know at the same time, because at the end of the day, you educate your kids as well, because it is God's money in our hands. So takeout is one thing. The other thing is presents. Okay, with kids, let's say I've got 4 kids. And like I said before, and say each of them have 5 friends. Now they've got way more than 5 friends, right? But say they've got 5 friends. So now between the 4 of them, that's 20 presents I've got to account for in a year, just for birthdays, right? And so, you can't really, there's no budget for that kind of thing. And I think what you need to do is you need to, what my wife and I did was say, okay, that's it. We're going to I did say there's no budget for it, but what I'm saying is you've got to allocate a certain amount of money for that, and say, okay, so we have to go 5 presents, we have to go 5 parties, so let's allocate X amount of dollars. Pick something, $15, whatever, right? Don't go overboard because, someone else is buying more expensive gifts or someone else has bought you really expensive gifts, now you've got to buy them. Now don't get dragged into that. They probably wanted to bless you, excellent, but your budget is a different state and this is what you can afford, right? And so, presents. The other thing is impulse purchases. Impulse purchases could range from anything from when you stop to put petrol in your car, and you walk in to pay and then you see a Mars bar and, oh yeah, I have a Coke as well. Mars bar and Coke these days are probably about $4 or $5, and yeah, you don't really think about it. It's $4 or $5, what's the big deal? I'll drink it on the way home or whatever. But that's critical. It could and it could range from something as simple as that to, like I said, I was talking about buying cars. You can have a budget to buying a car which is X amount of dollars, but by the time you sign the papers and everything, you're in top of the range vehicle and your budget is stretched now extra $10,000 or whatever it is. So it could range from anything. So impulse buying is another thing. Now, I want to make something clear as well. Is to want? Is it something? Is it bad to want? No, I don't think it's bad to want. But I think you need to cut your cloth according to the cloth you got, not cut your coat according to the cloth you got. I was getting it wrong. But anyway, cut your coat according to the cloth you have. Right? We got it right now. So basically, what you do is you got to make sure you know your budget, right? And Now you know what your needs are, you know what your wants are. Now with wants, let's see, like, you've heard this phrase when people want to go on a holiday. They say, I need a holiday. And people who just got back from a holiday, they go, I need another holiday. I'm guilty of that, right? I always say, like when you come back from a holiday, you plan for your next one, right? But listen, that's not wrong to want a holiday. I'm not saying it's wrong to want a holiday. All I'm saying is make sure you have the funds to be able to go on holiday. If it's something that you need to budget for, hey, do that. You know what I'm saying? But one thing about wants is that, I'm going to throw this in, is that you got to check your motives for why you want or you desire something. Okay? That is really critical, because if your motives aren't right, so like in our teaching in Money on the Vine, we go through a whole lot of different motives. And one of the things is, let's talk about the Joneses. The Joneses theory, you know that, right? And you want to buy something because they did something or they bought something, or you want to go on holidays because your friends put it on Instagram and you go, oh yeah, I want to go there, let's go there, and I don't care if you have to borrow bad track, okay, so track back and go, no, this is our budget, especially when you're tight. I tell you what, guys, when we were going through a really rough time, well, not rough, I would say rough, it was exciting at the same time. We were really tight on our money. This is the time when we're talking about $20 a fortnight, takeouts. Sarah prayed and asked God and said, God, I need a holiday. In that 1 year, we got 2 holidays. One was overseas, all painful, and we all went, and it was amazing how God shows up when you're faithful in your tithing and so on, and sometimes, what, out of your 100% of income, 10% your tithe, and the 90% is locked in for all kinds of needs, right? Maybe 80% because I was talking about takeout. But you know what? You get those moments, and in those moments you grow and you see God turn up. So let's go back and recap a need. A need is something that is essential for your survival. A want is not so essential, and it's more of a desire, okay? I'm really excited about this training program because it's the Word of God. It's helped my wife and I and our family through all kinds of difficult times. And you know what? And even now, we are in a different season, but God is supplying our needs, and we are seeing amazing miracles because we're following the processes in the Bible. So, moneyonthevine.com, come and visit us, like this channel, subscribe to it, share it with any of your friends or relatives or whoever might need some teaching and encouragement in their finances. And I hope to connect with you soon. God bless you.